What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to break down some very important levels to be watching for on Tesla, SPY, and many other tickers. Talk about how the technicals are looking so far and what's going on with the news affecting the markets. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed 5 free stocks, and it can be worth up to $2,000, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market so far. So looking at SPY, this thing is currently down about 0.24%, but I'm not really worried whatsoever about this. And the reason for that is because looking at the weekly charts, this looks to me like we just got a nice bounce off this 50 EMA. And I believe that even though the market is still a little red, I think that we're due for a bounce soon. And I believe that we're in a bottoming process. I really believe that looking at the current technicals, it is possible for us to drop a little bit more, right? It is still very, very possible. Either we have a cup and handle forming on SPY, or this thing can drop a little bit more if we form like a double bottom or like a bullish divergence. I believe that we're going to be bottoming very, very soon, and then the market's going to bounce eventually. And I do believe a big bounce is still on the table. It just needs a little bit more time, but I'm still leaning more in that direction. I also want to note that if there is any more downside, right, this is not financial advice, but a very good buying opportunity is coming if the market does once again retest these lows. A very, very good buying opportunity because I believe a big bounce is on the table and I believe it's going to be coming soon. All right. So, anyways, besides that, I want to break down some important things affecting the markets. The market is looking for an October rebound. The market's been very, very weak for the last couple of months. And now it's time for more and more talk about an October rebound as the market tends to do a little bit better during this time frame. October is still not as strong as like November, so I do expect more bullish price action by November, but going into October, that's when I think that the market could even start this process. Now, Congress has dodged a shutdown, which is once again still technically bullish news. I do believe this could help the market to some extent later on today. And then we also have new news coming out about how Apple is planning on fixing its overheating phones. It's going to roll out a software update to fix that issue caused by the new iPhone 15 models to overheat. And they want to once again identify what caused this to happen and do whatever it takes to just continue to deal with that. So that's pretty much it for the big news affecting the market so far. I just want to remind everyone that 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. Then we have the ISM PMI report all coming out 30 minutes after the market opens. So that tells us that there's going to be high volatility 15 minutes and 30 minutes after market open. And then the biggest thing for today is going to be Jerome Powell's speech. The guy's going to be speaking at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time or New York time. So make sure you're prepared for this. Make sure you're ready. Whatever Jerome Powell says could cause some high volatility. So get ready for Jerome Powell's speech. He's once again going to be speaking at 11 o'clock a.m. I know this may not show on every single calendar because he's not speaking as an FOMC event member. This is more just him giving a speech in general. And when he gives the speech, it's going to cause the market to move positively. So make sure you're prepared for that. And we're going to be watching the market as we approach this. Now, for SPY, we're approaching our support right over here at this 425 area. It's going to be very, very key for this zone. If SPY ends up breaking below this, we have this 424.8 zone just about down here. So we're going to be watching these levels very, very carefully, at least for the much shorter time frames. Now, I could see SPY dropping a little bit more because we're looking a little bearish on the 4-hour chart. But like I said before, it does not worry me whatsoever. I am not worried because I believe SPY has so much potential. And I also just wanted to add that we're going to be watching this 425 support right over here. If we break below this, then 423 becomes a possibility. But if anything, it doesn't really matter because, like I said before, I believe the market is in a bottoming process. I believe that even if we come down, to these lower levels, it could be forming a double bottom, it could be forming a bullish divergence, or this could just be a much larger cup and handle forming, especially if we establish a higher low. If we establish a higher low, this is a cup and handle that could be forming. The market's going to likely curl over the next few days and try to make its way back up. I do believe this is going to be an attempt to fill these gaps, so I'm still leaning in favor of a bounce coming soon. Could we drop a little bit more for the short term? Yes, we can. We are looking a little weaker for now, so we're going to be watching 425 as support. But I believe eventually we're going to bounce and make our way back up to 432. For Tesla, at the time I'm recording this, guys, the numbers have not come out, but Tesla's looking a little bit more bearish from a technical standpoint. Going to be watching this 247 area. If that breaks, we could see Tesla continue to sink down towards 240 or even below that. There's going to likely be a very big move coming. If it bounces and starts breaking above 255, then we could see this thing push for 260 plus. Now, there are different ways you could interpret this, but as of right now, guys, we're just going to be waiting to see what happens with deliveries. That's coming out very, very soon, nonetheless. As far as Aapl goes, Apple's trading completely flat right now, going back and forth between 170 and 173. It's kind of stuck in this range. If it breaks 173, we'll be watching it push for 174 plus. If it breaks below 170, the next support is going to be 169, followed by 167.62. Right now, Apple's very indecisive, very flat, so we're going to be watching to see which way it breaks. Looking a little weak right now, so I do believe it's going to retest 170 flat, maybe go a little lower. 169 can be tested before it tries to bounce. But I believe that if anything, I think Apple's in a bottoming process, and I think that there will be more upside coming in the future for the markets. The QQQ is the same thing, basically. We have a potential cup and handle like formation that's developing. And if the QQQ breaks below this 20 EMA, 358, you're going to be watching it come down to about this 356 area. And if that fails us, then there's 354. So watch 356, 354 below 358. If it bounces off here, watch 360, then 362.95 is resistance. And if it gets above that, 363.5 is a possibility. What do I think is going to happen? This thing could drop a little bit more. It's still looking a little weak as of right now, but I believe we're in a bottoming process on the QQQ. This is forming a cup and handle, or we could come down and eventually retest this low, but form a double bottom and then bounce. Either way, I think the downside is limited. I don't see insanely high amounts of downside from here. I believe the market is trying to base, and very soon there's going to be a big bounce coming. You just have to be very patient for it. That's the direction I am leaning in. For Nvidia, one thing that's a little concerning is that we gapped up pretty hard, and we have this gap down here to fill on Nvidia. So Nvidia might come down to about 435 to fill this gap, and either tries to base there or it fills the second gap down here around like 432. It may retest the 50 EMA, so we may see a little drop on Nvidia before this thing bounces. And we're going to be watching to see this thing potentially hold up at these higher levels. When we zoom out of the chart, especially on the daily time frame, right, we have a decent looking trend right about here and decent looking setup. The daily is about to turn bullish. That's one of the most important factors. It could drop a little bit more, but it just needs to establish a higher low. Even if it drops down to like 430 all over again, it could still be on a massive uptrend at the same time and still continue pushing nonetheless. So there is still potential for Nvidia. As far as the VIX goes, the VIX is up pretty big so far, but like we were talking about earlier, on the 30 minutes time frame, the VIX still has a potential head and shoulders that could be forming. So be very careful with this. If the head and shoulders truly is forming, the VIX could end up slowing down in the future, right, over the next couple of days because of the market potentially bouncing. And also on the 4-hour chart, you will notice that the VIX is still kind of like in the process of this top. And we still have a head and shoulders potentially forming. That's the thing about it, which could be bullish for the markets nonetheless. For the dollar index, we have something similar going on. The dollar is actually looking a little bit more bullish, so we could see the dollar pump a little bit more, retest 106.7 or around there, which means the market could drop a little bit, but I believe the dollar is in a topping process and it's going to start sinking a little bit because the overall trend is starting to weaken a bit. You could see on the daily charts looking a little weaker, and that could lead to the market potentially bouncing soon in the future, right? In the future, not saying it's going to happen immediately, could take a little bit more time. Amazon's looking kind of weak this morning. It could come down to fill this gap and break down to 126. We could see it fill the gap down here and then try to bounce later on if it establishes a higher low or a double bottom. That's pretty much it for today. So honestly, guys, the market's looking a little bit weak, at least to some extent. Could the market drop a little bit more? Yes, it can. But I'm not worried. I'm not scared because I believe we're in a bottoming process. The market's going to bounce soon. Tesla's starting to drop right now. Their deliveries may have just come out. I will check on this later on and just let you guys know how it goes. But Tesla's starting to sink right now. So we're going to be watching this all very, very carefully. As of right now, I don't see deliveries out, but they may have just came out. So I'll talk more about this later on. Anyways, I just want to thank you all for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you and peace out.